Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Schneider Electric Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Jean-Pascal Tricoire.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is the way we wake up every morning at Schneider Electric. It's quite brutal, but when you are like me, completely jet-lagged, it's very efficient, right? On that night, same thing, and then you go to bed, and then you start the next day. Well, welcome to the Atlanta stop of the World Innovation Summit of Schneider Electric, right? That starts with green drumming, on green everywhere, on EcoStruxure during the whole day. If at the end of the day you don't remember the word EcoStruxure, that's because we do a poor job. But I tell you, you will remember that word. I'm very excited to be here today. Well, this Innovation Summit, we do it every month in different cities of the world. And every time we gather our closest customers, partners, companies we work with in software and integration to deliver innovation, to deliver solutions. But I'm more excited today. I'm more excited because we do it in North America. And there are many reasons why I'm excited. It's been too long a time we've not done it in North America. So it's good to be back, and it's good to be back together. It's also because North America, of course, is the birthplace of digital. This is where it all started. And at the same time, it's also a place which is deregulated in terms of energy, so you see more innovation, more competition, more bold ideas coming in North America than in any other place of the world. So we feel really good here in working with you on deploying innovation. And of course, also, North America for Schneider is our largest business and our largest community of people, on the place where we have the most R&D solution centers. So here, not only like anywhere else in the world, we can deploy solutions together, but on the top of it, we can co-innovate, we can co-research, and we can really transform industries. And what you have to know is that we've got almost half of the business of Schneider, which for the global are headquartered here in North America. So what we develop here, we push it into other geographies, and we push it with you when you export, when you go around the world, when you set up your facilities everywhere else in the world. So very excited by the dialogue we're going to have in the next coming 2 days. And I would like to reinforce what Annette just said. I really would like to thank you for being here. I know that you are all very busy. I know the economy is doing very well here, which is good news for everybody. And I'm sure you've got plenty of other opportunities to spend your time. But the fact that you invest several hours, several days together to be with our team, to discuss the transformation of our industries, the transformation of technologies, and innovation that we can push together really means a lot to our relationship, to our friendship, and to the magnitude of things we can do together. So again, thank you very much for being with us today at the Innovation Summit. We're going to have plenty of things to discuss. And in the next hour or so, I'm going to have the difficult task with my Southern accent, speaking English. And I hope you've got the patience to go with it, the patience to go with it. I'm going to try to set the stage of this Innovation Summit and try to explain how we build Schneider and what we want to do at Schneider. Right? So when I was preparing this conference, and we love to dialogue at Schneider, there was one part of the company, the guys who are doing energy management, who told me, well, you should call that powering the digital economy, because what we do at Schneider is to power buildings, power smart manufacturing, power smart cities. So what we are doing is powering the digital economy. And there is the other part of the company doing automation, industrial automation, building automation, that sort of stuff. And I say, no, very important that we call it digitizing the power economy. Look, I mean, I've little patience for words. So we found a middle ground. So what we're going to be speaking today about is about powering and digitizing the economy. Because this is what we do at Schneider. And when you think about it, it's a very noble mission. For anybody who has lived in emerging countries where not everybody has access to energy, or for anybody who has experienced a hurricane, a typhoon, a flood, and then suddenly for many days you miss energy, everybody who has been through that experience knows that energy is a fundamental human right, and that the foundation of a decent life starts with energy. And for anybody in this room who's got kids who are teenagers, which I do, you will realize that what they ask when they come to a new place, they don't ask if there is power. They ask if there is Wi-Fi. Because connectivity is the foundation of a decent life in the 21st century. So your access to education, your access to business, your access to your network of friends, your professional network, that's the foundation of life. So what we do together is to offer to any of our customers the technology to bring power and digital together, build complete solutions to make the environment of life, the environment of work, safe, reliable, efficient, and sustainable. This is what we do together, and that's going to be the topic of the next coming 2 days. Now, that makes a long introduction, and I'd like to just go for a next point, which is when you speak about powering and digitizing, the common opinion would be to say, like, digital is the future, and power, which was designed more than 100 years ago, is a kind of mature technology. I would like to start the day on being provocative, and tell you that what we see at Schneider is that in our industries, in your industries, which are passionate about technology, digital is already an established part of the present. It's not something that you are discussing. But electrification is going through more revolutions as we speak today in the past 5 years than in the previous 100 years. So don't underestimate a future that's going to be massively electric, which is excellent news for Schneider Electric. But what I would like to start with is on that notion that the present is digital. So digital, we all know what it was. Episode 1 started in the 90s, connecting people to people, and completely transforming the way we work and the way we live together. Human beings being quite conservative. When we got digital, we started with mail. we started reading our newspaper digitally on Yahoo. Nobody was thinking of Uber, Google, all the new functionalities that would come and transform completely the way we work together. We are entering now the episode 2 of the internet, which is going to do to the way we work with machines around us, with our environment, the same way the episode 1 transformed how we work people to people. And episode 2 comes from the combination of 3 technology transformation. The first one is the Internet of Things. The fact that we are connecting today, as we speak, 10 times more objects to the internet that we connect people to the internet. And those things have a big difference. They speak a lot. I mean, a machine is sending information all the time. It doesn't sleep. So it creates a lot of data. That's combined with the fact that the cloud, the existence, the development of massive clouds allow the aggregation of data, of big data, and therefore a mass of data on which artificial intelligence can now learn, and algorithm can develop and bring new functions. So that combination of 3 factors, because data or connected objects don't bring a lot to end users or to customers, but when you apply artificial intelligence to it, then it gives sense to data. Then it makes data usable. And the combination of those 3 things is making that adoption in digital in the technical field is accelerating as we speak. So I could speak about the theory of the case, but I'd like to share with you a few examples of what people are making with digitization. Believe it or not, the first usage of digitization is about safety and reliability. And let me share one example that speaks a lot to that cause, which is a children's hospital. When you go in a hospital, you don't speak about energy efficiency as the first value. You speak about safety and reliability, and the fact that everything is connected, and you can apply algorithm of predictive maintenance to everything makes that not only you can repair faults faster than before, but more so you can avoid that any problem will be happening because you detect it before it happens. So in this case, not only we increase the uptime of the critical infrastructure of the hospital by 15% and increase the reliability of the assets by 20%, but you know that any building in the world is full of people looking for problems or repairing the problem or running in the floors and running around the electrical enclosures to understand where the problem happened and trying to repair it. When you are connected, you go straight to the root cause of the problem, and you go there with the right tool, with the right spare part, and you reduce the time and the cost of interruption. So, of course, the first objective was the uptime. But the collateral benefit here was saving a lot on the OPEX of maintenance of the hospital because you know exactly what you are running for, what you're looking for. Hilton. I could have taken many hotels, but you know what? We are in a Hilton. So that's a good example to take. So we have had a contract with Hilton for the past 9 years, time flies, to connect their facilities around the world and to help Hilton to save energy and to better buy energy. Once you know and you aggregate the consumption of your facilities, then you know what is the characteristics of your consumption, and you can source the energy from the best source, the cheapest, the greenest, according to what you are looking for. So in this case, while 15% energy savings since 2009, it's very relevant for a hotel because in a hotel, energy is the second cost you have beside employees. So if you want to be more competitive, you really have to tackle that. On the top of it, more and more customers are choosing your hotel on the basis of the environmental friendliness of where they go, so that helps a lot. And that's worldwide. You're going to have in next door, you're going to be able to see the digital image real time of this hotel. It's real time. It's real life. So, of course, efficiency. Now, let's speak about PSE, a utility that has been consolidating all of its data into a data center. You might not know it, but Schneider Electric is the biggest supplier of energy infrastructure to data centers in the world. I'm going to be speaking about that just later, but what we see is that a major catalyzer for electrification today is a push of IT on data centers. The fastest growing electricity consumption in the world is IT. So in this case, they were looking for a very safe and very efficient data center to reposition their data using an integrated architecture, which again is EcoStruxure, means 33% reduction of space, which is very important in many cases with data because they can be in an urban environment. 75% energy efficiency, 75%. And the biggest cost of a data center is energy. Actually, I should say data is energy and can be summarized to that. And 100% of the critical applications integrated and repositioned into the right shell. Why using digitization? Be faster to the market. That's a very big project that we did a few years ago in Egypt. Not exactly an easy environment, right? Gas field, and the customer wanted to reduce the time to first gas, which we cut by half, going from 5 years to 2.5 years by digitizing everything, not only the technical architecture of power and automation that were integrated into one, but also, and I'm going to speak about that later, digital is not about digitizing just the architecture, it's about digitizing the whole experience, the whole life cycle of the installation. So that's today completely operational. That has cut the time to first gas by 2, and we are now going to the second phase of this very large gas field as we speak. And now I'd like to go to Mexico, another part of our North American organization, and to speak about another application of digitization, which is control of water, of clean water. And here you are speaking about the largest water waste treatment plant of Latin America, 3 million cubic meters, which are treated there, and where the topic, and we are speaking about 60% of the population of Mexico, which itself is one of the largest cities in the world, removing pollutants from the water. So another key advantage of digitization, of course, is control and traceability of what is happening. But here, purifying the water for agricultural use, for people use, and making sure that this is deployed on a very large scale in Mexico City. So that's about digital. And as you see, in every application we deal with today, there is a component of digital, because at the end of the day, digitizing comes at the marginal cost, and the gains in speed, in reliability, in traceability, in usability, given by connectivity are really enormous respect to the initial environment. Now, where I'm getting extremely excited is about the future. I've been working for Schneider for the past 32 years. And let's face it, electricity is or was a pretty stable industry. And what happened in the past 5 years has been that convergence of digital on renewable energy, on electrification. If you think about it, every new technology in the world is powered by electricity. IT, semiconductors, which is actually a big electricity consumption. The new generation of mobility, cars, everything is going to be electric. And why is that? It's because electricity actually is not a source of energy. It's a vector of generation and consumption of energy. And it's only today a marginal part of what the world consumes. It's only 20% of the world consumption. But it is the vector of consumption and generation that allows the most decarbonation. And this is the one that merges the best with digitization. So at the moment, we see electricity consumption accelerating full speed under the push of IT. Tomorrow, electric vehicles. And tomorrow is really tomorrow. That means next year. I was recently in a large city of China. In 2020, all cabs will be electric. Forbidden to have an ICE, a combustion engine, as a cab. So that transition is really accelerating. Then air conditioning, which seems obvious in the US, but which was not obvious in many geographies, is moving to electrification. And every time one of our customers want to clean an industrial process, they go to electricity. And now, if you add to that the old paradigm of electricity was big power plants, big distribution grids, things that were pretty concentrated, and that now that paradigm is going to decentralize energy, where in many places, you see generation at the point of consumption with significant savings at the level of infrastructure. You've got powerful catalyzers of changes here in the electrical system, which are pushing the grid to be richer at the level of the edge, close to the consumption place. So there again, let's take a few examples. That's what we did with Marine Corps in California. Here, the problem to solve was first reliability. There was, if you remember, in 2011, a big power outage. And here you are speaking about a very critical mission of the Marines. So what we are asked for is to make a super reliable grid that would be powered on local generation, renewables, make sure that we supply very resilient energy to the Marines, around 100 buildings, on which we did, and of course, with a very special attention to cyber security on the digital part of the equation. So making it for safety and reliability. Making it for green. This is one example of Montgomery County, which I think is well known by everybody in Maryland, where the objective here was to have a green grid and a green source of energy. So here, usage of renewable, digitization of the microgrid, energy as a service, and putting into place the infrastructure for 1,000 electric vehicles. And here at Schneider, we've got a digital service that I'm going to detail a little bit later, where we can procure for our consumers, once they are connected, renewable energy for their needs, right? And making sure they're completely supplied by sustainable energy. Another thing which is a major evolution of the electrical field is what is happening on the grid. There is one company in the new world of energy which has a very tough job. And those companies are utilities. Imagine that today, sources of energy powered by renewable are intermittent, volatile, and unpredictable. That people who are doing energy efficiency based on digital are modulating their consumption. So the good old times, it was already difficult to manage a grid 20 years ago. But now everything is moving and moving very fast. So conducting this new equation needs a full usage of digital. And here, I exemplified it by using Austin Energy, which has developed our advanced distribution management system, and with whom we keep upgrading the system where, of course, the first subject to manage is the resilience of the grid, so making sure customer outages are getting reduced, but at the same time, fully using digitization reduces the losses and reduces the peak, which are the usual problem of grids, by more than 3%. So when you face those two worlds of digital and electricity and you think about it, somewhere they are following a parallel evolution. Used to be only one model, now the model is shared between mutualization of the needs, which in IT is a cloud, which in electricity is a grid, on deployment of flexible, rapid, efficient systems on the edge, which in IT is, of course, the edge computing, and which in electrification are edge grids. Every IT needs a perfect power to be resilient and to keep working. Every grid having to manage those two levels, the grid on the edge, needs digital to manage that balance. And what we see at Schneider and what we engineer together with our customers is that combination of movements between the center and between the edge for more efficiency. So 2 words about Schneider, actually 3 words to be precise. The first one, what's our role? Our role is very simple. We are technology providers, and as I was explaining before, our technologies make sure that life is on, that life provides energy and digital, life being really the base of life, digital being the base of progress, to all of our customers, everywhere, for everyone, at every moment. Picture of our company, that's the end of 2017, 30 billion turnover. We changed size in the past 10 years. We changed size because we are serving fast-growing needs of our customers. We tripled size. And while we were doing that, we kept very focused on our key end markets. We do 50% of our business in building and data centers, and we do 50% of our business in heavy-duty application, namely industry and infrastructure, inclusive of the grid. But probably there are two characteristics of Schneider that you should remember. The first one is that we invest a lot in R&D, 5% of our turnover every year. And a growing part of that is going today on digital software to extract the data and give sense to the data of our systems. And the second one, which is really unique in our industry, is the fact that we are very balanced around the world. We do the same turnover in North America, in Western Europe, in Asia-Pac, and we do 18% of our business in Latin America, Africa, Middle East, which for many of your companies is very important because not only we have a strong relationship here, but when you go into another geography, say India, you've got 20,000 Schneider people there ready to receive you and translate a system that was designed according to the US standards into the Indian standards and help you to implement it on the ground with the right commissioning, with the right project management, and with the right services. So we develop together not only in North America, but beyond North America into more geographies. And what I'd like to, what you see here is that everything we do are efficiency solutions, mixing automation and energy management, targeting energy efficiency and process efficiency, and making sure more and more that we articulate the offers around the three levels of EcoStruxure. So EcoStruxure. So in the next 2 days, you're going to be hearing the word EcoStruxure every 2 minutes. If you don't hear EcoStruxure anymore, that means you've lost your way and you're on the wrong floor. Okay, and I'm saying that to our friends and partners, I'm saying that to our Schneider people. So EcoStruxure is more than a technical architecture. Actually, we see it as a platform, as a set of expertise, because as soon as you speak about digital, you speak about living with an installation, you speak about sharing with your customers, so you stop speaking about products, but you speak about the industry of your customer. It's about a community of which we are very proud. People that we work with every day. I'm going to come back on that one. And again, as I said before, digital is just not a technical architecture. It's also a full digital experience for much more efficiency and much more performance of the installations. So I'll try to go quickly through all of those aspects, and you're going to have plenty of more details as you are going to be visiting our booth next door on the Innovation Summit. So let's try to be simple. EcoStruxure is a three-layer architecture. Connected products. We want every of our products to be potentially connected. And here we have a very simple principle. We believe in openness because our customers have to be able to choose our products, and we hope they will integrate them into a Schneider EcoStruxure. But if they want to use them in a third-party architecture, this has to be completely open. So products that you find at the level of connected products are operating on open standards. We share our standards with competitors, with peers in the industry, and we make sure that you have the choice of putting those products into our architecture or your architecture of preference. Second level is edge control. And without entering into detail, we believe it's really important to have edge control on-premise for two reasons. First, because all of us in this room are managing mission-critical applications. And you want no time of latency for the response of those systems. So it has to be very fast on spot. And you don't want to be depending on a so-called connection to the cloud and to be reliant on something that could fail. And the second thing is that we believe in people. Human beings on spot have to be able to take over a system if something happens. And that you do that with edge control. And the third layer is a layer of digital services where you aggregate data, bring artificial intelligence, analytics, and give sense to all the data we are collecting. All of this is, of course, supported by a full service of cyber security. And this is really important to have the scale in our industry so that you gain more experience here and elevate the defense of your systems. On a cloud support, we can host your data on your cloud to your choice, or we can equally host it on our cloud if you are more interested by the services and not want to be encumbered by setting up your own cloud. So that's what EcoStruxure is. And to take a very simple example, if you take a building, and we have 6 domains at EcoStruxure, I should have mentioned that. Power, building, IT, machine, plant, and grid. And according to the segment, to your application, you're going to combine some of those architectures. For instance, in a typical building, it's going to be the combination of power, building, and IT that you plug together into one complete system. So we went already through a lot of application and example, but I'd like to take another hospital as an example where everything is connected at the level of power. We've got edge controls controlling power on the whole building, and then you bring at the level of digital services analytics that bring you superior advice at the level of building management, the level of all of your assets, and the level of power management. That's what we do, and that brings a better patient experience and a better efficiency in the management of the hospital. Expertise, that's a real important thing. If you move back in time 15 years ago, Schneider was mostly a product company and not very much on digital. And when we started our journey to digital, we realized that going into digital is living with your customer and really understanding the application and resolving the pain points of your customers. So soon enough, we realized that speaking about products to our customers was not enough. So we started the journey of building solution teams who would go deep together with our customers in the knowledge of their application. And we'll be accumulating experience. We don't want to do your business. I mean, we are very small and not competent at all to do your business. But being able to serve you better by bringing you the right application, the right knowledge, not being generalist, is very important. So over the past 10 years, we've built a community of 20,000 application and software engineers that we have specialized on our key segments: oil and gas, mining, food, wastewater, buildings. We spoke about hospital, hotels, utilities, cloud, data centers, big application for us, machines, so that we would try to speak your language and support you with more adapted solutions. And I'd like to take one example when we speak about that, which is what we do at the level of energy and sustainability services, which is a team at Schneider which does energy consulting to very large users of energy. And we've built that team a number of years ago, and step by step we've developed a privileged relationship with customers to review their energy strategy. That goes into saving energy, that goes into sometimes producing more locally energy, sourcing better the energy, and particularly sourcing renewable energy. And where we are today, we've developed an experience in that dialogue that everybody can benefit of. There is a figure here that speaks to my accent, which is today we are taking care for our customers of 80 gigawatt, which when you think about it, is the production, the electricity production of France. On making sure in real time, using digital and analytics, that we source for our customers the right source of energy in terms of cost, in terms of characteristics. And today we've got contracts, for instance, with some of our customers to source everything from renewable energy. You have examples of customers here, of franchise that we follow around the world. And we follow them, or we work with them, of course, in North America, but very often we do that on a much larger scale. And when they expand outside of North America, we keep serving them and helping them of their strategy of energy, on their digital strategy of energy. I'm going to move now on to the community part of it, which is the most important, I would say. Digital is a very interesting space. There are a lot of debates always about the property of data. We are very clear at Schneider, the property data is a property of our customers, of people who generate it. But the interesting thing of digital, it's not a zero-sum game. Digital is the beginning of sharing. I'll take the example of Schneider. We've got in some of our factories, in all of our factories, machines coming from suppliers, and sometimes our suppliers are better than us to set the right parameters on the machines. So we give our suppliers a digital access to those machines so that they can, in real time, bring improvement to what we do. And when you think about it, everything we do, buildings, manufacturing, were kind of closed silos in the past where many stakeholders can bring value, utilities, contractors, facility managers, end users, and it was very difficult to collaborate on those kind of environment. Digital is opening now this kind of possibility. And when you share and you decide with the right level of precaution to share some of the data, suddenly you've got a community of people who can bring more value on what you do. So if we look at EcoStruxure today, this is a platform, this is a place where we've got 500,000 sites already deployed. We've got 20,000 developers developing applications, software, digital services on the base of data that we are generating. We've got around the world 650,000 integrators who know better than us the application, who have a stronger relationship with the people who are operating. And we've got 3,000 utilities, remember, who are plugged into that database and can supply the best source of energy to any kind of application. I'm sorry, I missed, well, and there is one, so that's what I wanted to show you. The number of connected points, what we call assets under management for our customers, is increasing very fast, growing by 25% a year and actually accelerating as we speak. And this is a place of intense collaboration for the people operating in our ecosystem. Take two examples. Oracle, which is using EcoStruxure Power for their systems on enabling to prevent 10 million per day of lost sales and productivity, making sure that there is continuity of service on their key on mission-critical application. Or another example here that we did at the Nature Preserve of Bubble, where I mean a software house called Phase Technology developed their own set of software because they had a special relationship with the customer on the base of the open platform of EcoStruxure. And we've got plenty of examples where people can work at the level 3 or the level 2 of EcoStruxure and bring their own added value thanks to companies working in our ecosystem. You're going to see next door, we are opening a marketplace where people can start working on the platform and creating a network of integrators and developers so that there is more capabilities added to EcoStruxure, not by Schneider, but by people working every day at Schneider. To accelerate that, I'm just opening a bracket here, but we are proud today to announce the phase 2 of our venture capital fund at Schneider called Schneider Electric Venture. We are multiplying by 5 the funds we want to invest. And here what we are doing is accelerating the development of companies that work around Schneider on the subjects of digitization, automation, and energy, and making sure they can plug into EcoStruxure to develop faster around the world. And as we do that, we develop also collaboration with universities. Now, when we speak about digital, very often we say, okay, I'm going to connect my home, or I'm going to connect my building, or I'm going to connect our industrial park. But the reality is that when you put your finger into digital, you've got much more productivity that you can do around the whole life cycle of your installation. So at Schneider, we see digital as also the digitization of everything in the life cycle of your facilities, starting from the design of it, going into the build phase of it, then the operation and the maintenance. And when you look at what we've done in industry, for instance, I'm just here focusing on industry, I could focus on the data center, on the building, but we've created a full set of software going from the 3D design of the factory, the manufacturing. Here you are speaking about refineries. You are speaking of very big manufacturing. You are speaking about chemical plants. You are speaking about big ships. You are speaking really of big installations, going from the 3D design of it, but then transporting this digital twin into the phase of operation and making sure that you gain from the learning you have in operation and feed it back into the phase of design. And to be more practical about it, there are at least two issues that we are trying to solve here. When you look at construction today, 30% of the cost of construction is rework. It's redoing things that were not designed properly. I don't know how it is in other companies, but at Schneider, it happens that sometimes there is a bit of disagreement between the people who are making the design and people who are operating the design, right? It just happens at Schneider, but imagine it happens at your company. If you can digitize together with the operation teams from the beginning, your whole manufacturing and your whole building, the time you save during that phase will save a lot of opposition, conflicts, problems, which are today happening on construction sites. I was last week in a conference of real estate builders, actually that was with German real estate builders, using complete digitization, cost them 1 or 2 months more at the level of design, save them 6 to 9 months at the level of execution. And then, another problem is that you design something, but you don't know if the execution is as planned, as commissioned, as built. So digitization allows you to, in permanence, check the compliance of what you are doing respect to what you had designed. The second thing it allows is complete learning. Like, you go into operation, you learn from your operation, you feed back your model of design, and make sure that your next design is far better. So this is where we see a huge potential of productivity and progress in what we do. And when you look at the statistics of productivity across industries, what we do in construction has not been the most productive industry of the world, and we are part of it. So we are very excited that we can all gain of the full digitization of construction as we go forward. So what we do in industry, we do it, of course, also in energy management. I'd like now to start to conclude about what I just told you in the past 30 minutes. When we started in digitization, the biggest objective we had on our radar screen was about energy efficiency. And after having done thousands of examples, we know that applying digitization to buildings and industry brings in average 30% of energy efficiency and pays back the investment of digitization in 3 years in average. So it's a pretty fast return on investment. But what we've discovered as we are going the way of digitization is that there are many other collateral benefits, and it changes the way we work on installation. Of course, the next collateral benefit is productivity. Productivity in design, on productivity in operation. The next one really is reliability. Being able, because you are connected to your installation, to pre-detect issues before they happen, and do predictive maintenance and changing things before there is a breakdown. Then there is a value which is really important, and that personally as a CEO is my priority. I don't know about you guys in your company, but my priority is to make sure that everybody is safe when they come working at Schneider. And when you provide your people on the shop floor with augmented reality tools that they can open an electrical enclosure, they can open a machine without having to put their fingers into it, but knowing before they come on site or at the time they come in front of the machines that the problem is on the row 2, it's coming from this product, and this is what you have to be careful about, and give them the sequence to get into the problem, you improve drastically the safety of your operators. And finally, a benefit which is coming along that is sustainability. On Schneider, of course, because of our business, but also more so because we really believe into it, we've been deeply committed in the cause of sustainability. We have committed to be carbon neutral by 2030. We have committed to be renewable 100, source everything from renewable. Actually, it's going to be done by 2025. We've committed to another improvement of our energy or productivity by 50% in 2030. But we are not alone in this movement. I mean, talents today want to work for socially responsible companies. If you want to work with Schneider as a supplier, you've got to show that you are committed to this avenue. So this is a global movement, and the usage of technology gives you a really reward in terms of saving, in terms of performance, but more so in terms of competitiveness and attractiveness. And I would say we are proud at Schneider that we are the 5th company in the world where environmental, social, and governance funds are the most invested. So even at the level of capital investment, it becomes a real important thing. I'd like to finish with one consideration. When we speak about digitization, many customers say, well, fine, but it's going to be costly. On my industry, it's very demanding. I face competition. I've got to be competitive on cost. What you are speaking about here is a lot of cost. How can I manage that? Well, I would start by reminding you that most of the things we just talked about are repaid within 3 years, which many investments in industry have a far longer time of return. But more so, what you have to consider is that investment in digitization is not a big investment. You are not far from being a connected company, because very often what you have on-premise is already connected. What you need to do is connect the connected, aggregate the data so that you can run more computing power on it and get access to a number of new capabilities, new functionalities. And what that connection to the cloud, that connection of data, that aggregation of data brings to any company is a capacity to go from being reactive on problems, that means curative on problems, to be proactive and go, for instance, from curative maintenance to predictive maintenance and proactive maintenance. What it allows you to do is to manage better your competencies. I don't know about you, but it's difficult to find high competencies in our businesses. So if you have remote connected all of your buildings, you can put your highest competencies into one place and have less people in each site. So it really allows you to aggregate, concentrate your competencies and get them sharper where they are, wherever they are in the world. It allows you also to share your data with partners and open the optimization space to more companies and to more specialists. And really, finally, it allows you to go from a limited computing power to a very large computing power and apply a variety of new capabilities on your installation. So just to tell you that's not futuristic, that's not science fiction, it's really accessible, and we are at a very interesting time, I would say, our generation, people working in this industry where the convergence of digital and electrification is creating a lot of possibilities. And imagine it like this. I still remember in the 90s when I connected for the first time to the internet. And as I'm not very creative, I did like what everybody was doing at the time, doing what we used to do in a digital manner. So I started to do mail, and I read my newspapers. 20 years after, we do everything on our mobile phone, on our cell phone. This has completely transformed the way we work together, the way we live together. The Internet of Things, coupled with big data, with artificial intelligence, is just starting. In this field, we are exactly when we were in the 90s with the Internet of People. So it's just for us together, through the dialogue we're going to have in the next coming 2 days and many other dialogues, to imagine all the new functions that digitization will bring to the industry. So I'm very excited to be with you. Again, thank you very much for your patience, for this long speech, for my accent, for this session. I hope to see you today. Very excited with the dialogue we're going to have in the next coming 2 days. Thank you.